Go ahead and call the USD 49 Board of Education meeting for Monday, June 15th, 2015 to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Have a motion by Board Member Bickle, second by Board Member Lang. Any discussion? See none, call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have audience participation. This is the first and only opportunity for anybody in the audience to address the board. Doesn't look like we have any takers. I think we did scare them off. All right, we'll go ahead and move to item 4, school spotlights. And we've got a special guest in the audience with us tonight. I think she's been up here once before, but of course we're talking about the USD 49 Master Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Patsy Thorell from O'Laughlin. So congratulations on that, and did have a little write-up here for everybody and maybe some inside jokes too. Okay. So of course we would like to congratulate you on being the USD 49 Master Teacher of the Year. You are, of course, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but a kindergarten and first grade teacher at O'Laughlin Elementary. Been with the district since 1990.
Yes, that's correct.
So thank you for your service, of course. And then a very dedicated teacher in the classroom and highly respected by her peers. And I know we had a bunch of stories at Whiskey Creek about you, but I remember one thing that stood out, and I know you've got 2 sons there in the audience with you, and maybe you could let us in on this round-robin grading you talked about on Sundays.
Oh, the round-robin grading, yes. We have a number of assessments or different things at different times throughout the school year, and it's kind of overwhelming. On a Sunday afternoon, I'm thinking, how am I going to have all of this done and ready for tomorrow? And I round up my boys and my husband, and we sit at the kitchen table, and everybody has a pen and everyone has a paper, and off we go, and we take care of it all together, and we get it done in a fourth of the amount of time because we do it with all 4 of us. So that's kind of our round-robin grading. They've always been such great supporters of me with my classroom, and lots of great help at home. They come up and help me in the classroom and are always interested in each of my classes every year. So they're a great support system.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Mrs. Thorell, and for anybody in the audience and also those watching on the cameras. Of course, there can only be one Master Teacher of the Year. So again, congratulations, and if you would please come to the front here. We'd like to shake your hand and, of course, present you with a certificate.
Great. Thank you very much for your help.
We'll move on to item number 5, which is a report of committees. And Dean, I know we've got a special presentation from the Leadership Hayes group.
Yes,
and
we
there's 2
have
gentlemen.
Shane Smith from Commerce Bank and Aaron Gillespie from Next Tech Wireless. You guys want to come up to the microphone, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Well, first off, thanks for having us, and thanks to Marty Straub for the invite. We've given this presentation a couple times now, and really excited about the opportunity to bring awareness to the project that we were able to put together and benefit for the Hayes High Pantry. I believe there's a handout that was distributed. Part of that handout was from the 489 Hayes High Pantry, and the second half will be part of the memorandum of administration that was part of our agreement of the project. But basically, as far as the Leadership Haze class goes, put on by the Chamber of Commerce, and one of the staples of the class is to do a project, if you will. The charge to us this year was to find a project where you could benefit the youth of Ellis County. And for the most part, utilize those skills that we've either learned about, developed, and/or honed existing skills on, and really maybe to see if we are listening in class. Fortunately, we all were. The Chamber also provided us with $2,500 to provide and utilize toward the benefit, rather than doing a fundraiser. Sometimes the fundraisers became a competition and it kind of distracted from what the actual benefit was. And so that was the charge to us, really focus on what you can do with this money, and avoid the fundraising, just really go deeper into the benefit side. So areas of interest, how did we come up with a project? Really, we had to decide where's the gap in the community. What adaptive challenges are out there that aren't being addressed at this point? Who are the uncommon voices that don't have the platform or the resources to be heard? With that, we did come up with a few ideas: Big Brothers Big Sisters, Boy Scouts, affordable childcare, the Hayes High Pantry, and Fort Hays State University food pantry for their students. Some of these are difficult to measure what our impact would be. Some of them are very well supported throughout the community through different ventures and other fundraisers. And so we really wanted to focus on something where we could measure what our tangible impact would be. So the focus was to stay on K through 12, give someone who doesn't have that voice or the resources to be heard some benefit. And this discussion quickly narrowed down to the Hayes High Pantry, but we really didn't know anything about it. We had a little bit of information, and so at that point, the plan of attack was to reach out to Sherry Matlock and Sue Ellen Stanger with the Hayes High Pantry, the counselors at Hayes High, and set up a tour. And Aaron, real quick, will talk about the tour, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, as Shane had mentioned, we had an open invitation from the counselors and the administrators at Hayes High to come up, do a walkthrough of the facility, and get a better understanding of what they're accomplishing there. Certainly an eye-opening experience, and I know that you guys are well-versed in what the Hayes High Pantry is doing, but for those of you that are not, it's providing food, hygiene, school supplies to students that are in need. It's also doing it in a very discreet manner, utilizing backpacks. What was so impressive about the tour and some of the work that the counseling staff has done and the way that they identified the gap was the passion that they have for the students. They operate in a very, very small budget, but that doesn't go to say that they don't go over and beyond that budget, maybe even out of their own personal pocket. So as we went through the tour, a couple things really stuck out to us. Not only was there passion from the folks that were administering the program, being Sue Ellen and Sherry and the counseling staff, along with the administration staff at Hayes High, but also it's operated out of a very small, what I'll call maybe a closet. So as we tried to work through how we could really impact and make a lasting impression on the pantry, we thought about, well, maybe we can help them with their location, but we quickly crossed that out because the reason it's so impactful is because it's housed right there at Hayes High. Not only do they send items home for family members and students in need, they also help right there at the facility if a student's in need during school. The main goal is to keep them engaged with school. So it was clear our path, and it was very an impactful experience for those of us that went up and toured the facility. And what sold us all on it was Sue Ellen and Marty's passion. I don't want to use the word burden, but their main focus is ensuring that they're taking care of the students. And to some degree, they had to kind of worry about how we're going to fund this beyond the $300 that they get from the foundation. So as Shane alluded to, we had the $2,500 as an upfront investment that we could contribute through the foundation. We did that via an MOA, so a memo of administration, which is essentially guidelines, not only for leadership pays, but also the foundation and the pantry to operate. We wanted it to be a very straightforward document, not a lot of legwork or bureaucracy in it. So it's straightforward. We said you guys can pull $500 out of the initial source or the initial fund, which was $2,500. So that automatically provides sustainability for 5 years. As Shane also alluded to, we don't want to see this thing just stop after 5 years. We want to keep this project going. And we have a couple different ways in which we're brainstorming to accomplish that. We're working currently to create an annualized funding opportunity through our leadership pays class, which has about 18 members. And then also, when we were talking to Sue Ellen and Marty, we quickly identified that there are needs that go beyond the 500. Today they get 300, so that's 800. There's needs beyond that. So let's establish with the 18 community volunteer members that we have now, I'll call them volunteers because we've turned in from a leadership pays class to a volunteer class to create a first responder team. And what that is we have an email domain set up. Say they need calculators or backpacks, or they got a certain item that they're in need of, they'll send it to a first responder. We've established internal protocol with Leadership Hayes, and we will go out and tackle those either via our employers or through other means. But it takes the burden away from the counseling and administrative staff to go out there and source and find those items. And it really puts 18 people to work to ensure that we're contributing to the cause that we feel passionately about now. With that, I'll turn it over because we also have some additional funding that we're currently working on, and I'll let Shane talk a little bit more about that.
So we had the opportunity also to present or make our presentation to the chamber membership luncheon to all the members of the chamber that attend that, and we said what a better place to just pass the hat around, right? So we were able to raise $500, almost $500, from the attendees of the chamber luncheon at the end of May, and through our employers have gathered commitments for almost another $500. In addition to that, we've also identified a grant through the Walmart Foundation that the pantry may qualify for, up to $2,000. So we've got a lot of leads. We're trying to track down this funding, and we'll work with the pantry in whatever assistance they need or whatever fashion they need to see if we can get them this additional funding. So with that, we'd kind of like to wrap up and answer any questions you guys may have. It's an opportunity really to work with Marty and Sue Ellen and the crew. So just happy to help out and bring a little more awareness. So any questions you guys may have?
Not really a question, but I'd like to thank you for all the work you've done. That's
Great job.
quite
You
a
bet.
big undertaking you've taken, so
You bet.
thank you for that.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And also under that, we have the site council reports attached to the agenda, and we will look at maybe doing a spring report from the site councils and have them come in and speak with the board. But they are all online there.
Okay. Dean, do you want to move into item 6, which is the communications from other organizations?
Yes, we have the Early Childhood Connections June Directors Report and the Hayes, that goes back a lot of years. Hayes Rec Commission meeting minutes are also attached.
Any questions on that from any board members? Okay. Dean, you want to move to superintendent report?
Sure, I just want to give a little bit, and Rusty, you may help me out here on Washington update. Went down today and just looked around, and the construction pieces are coming along very good. They're about, I say about done. There's plastering, there's some of those things that have to be done. There was a gentleman in there painting up in the top floor. Most of the big stuff is done, the dirty stuff. They're going to be cleaning down there, but that transition seems to be going really, really good. The move was scheduled for Wild West weekend or that week. And needless to say, it's going to be tough to get in and out of there, so I think we moved it back a week, correct? So we'll make that move. It still fits the schedule fine. But things, the more, when you get everything out of those rooms and they did the sinks, adjusted the sinks and worked on all that, and it's just going to be a really nice location for them, offices upstairs and all those classrooms. So it's going to be pretty neat. The playground moves, all of that stuff is in the works, and I don't know what the timeline is for sure on playgrounds. I think they started doing some of it as far as moving mulch and some of those things, but shouldn't be an issue of meeting or deadlines, but going well, so. And then wanted to talk about July 6th. We are planning on having our board appreciation for Greg, James, and Marty at 6 o'clock. We will have a little reception here with cake and punch. I don't know if we have anything else planned for food, but at least cake and punch, and have a reception for them at 6 p.m. before the regular board meeting, and just wanted to make that announcement. Again, appreciate the service. 4 years for Marty and James, and 12 years for Greg. I mean, they are going to be missed greatly, so appreciate their time and effort that they all put in. That's all I have for my report.
Okay. Any questions? Move on to financial reports. Tracy, do you want to lead us into that?
Sure. As everybody probably knows, the governor did sign the legislative bill this weekend. So at this point, we are going forward with the money we were instructed we would receive through the block grant. I think there's still $50 million short that we have not heard how the governor is going to make up that difference. So we're still a little bit in limbo there, but we're proceeding with the budget for next year, presuming the block grant is going through. This month, we are finishing up all the payrolls for the year. I believe the payroll staff does 9 different payrolls during the month of June, and then we should be closing the books here in the next few weeks towards the beginning of July. So I don't really have anything else to add to what Dean filled you guys in on last week, unless there was any questions.
On the block grant, I just want to talk a little bit more about that. They did pass their tax bill, raise taxes to make up most of that, but there's this $50 million hanging out there. Part of what they passed was a statement to protect the block grant. I'm a little leery of that, since that's what they told us when they passed it the first time, whether they'll actually do that or not. Until we see it in writing, we're moving forward with what the block grant says we're going to have, but cautious that they may come back and say, well, we need to cut this or that. My biggest fear, and Tracy and I and all of us as we budget this year, have had these conversations about whether they really fix the problem with revenues at the state level or not. I personally don't think they really fixed the problem. I think we're going to run into revenue issues again. So we are mindful of that, with the expectation that we may see some sort of allotment throughout the year. So there's still a lot of things in limbo, but this scenario is much better than the last one, which was a $912 million cut. So much better.
Dean or Tracy, when you're building the budget for next year, the directors and who else are building their individual budgets, are they taking that into consideration, a potential 1 or 2% drop next year?
At this point, they've pretty much given me we've allowed them the same amount of money as they had this year, and then if that would happen, then we'd have to just go through and, determine what areas we could reduce with the least amount of impact.
We're going to work in and have that available, contingency, if that's what you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to confuse that with our contingency fund.
Right.
But to have that built in the budget to where we have some leeway.
But like that $400,000 that we've been talking about, that with our increases and the decreasing in staff costs, things like that, I'm planning on having a large amount of that money in a line that should there be a reduction, we could take it out of that line first without having to cut all the expense lines.
Okay. Any questions? We'll move on to item 9, which is the consent agenda. Be one motion to approve all items listed below, which would include the board meeting minutes from May 18th, 2015, the board HNEA negotiation meeting, or minutes from May 20th, 2015, the board HNEA negotiations minutes from May 26th, 2015, board meeting minutes from June 8th, 2015, the board HNEA negotiations minutes from June 9th, 2015, personnel transactions, financial reports, which would include the clerk's report, investment report, petty cash report, approval of bills in the amount of $7,138,990.52, and the approval of surplus items.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I have a motion by Board Member Schwartz,
Second.
second by Board Member Bickle. Any discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. On to new business. First item is approval of the federal meal program for nutrition services. Dean, do you want to intro that or review that?
I say routine thing we do every year to participate in that, in the program, the lunch program, federal lunch program. And that's about all I have on it, James.
Okay.
Move to approve the federal meal program for nutrition services.
I have a motion by Board Member Schwartz, second by Board Member Waddell. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Item B, workers' compensation. Dean, do you want to move us through that?
Yeah, I'll refer to Tracy, and she's been working more directly with them, but interject anything.
Yeah, please do. We did receive 2 quotes, one from QBE and the other from KASB. If we would stay with KASB with the $2,500 deductible as we did this year, we would save $62,542 in premiums from what we did last year. Our mod factor is the number that the insurance companies use to determine our risk. Anything over 1 is costing the company money. So our mod factor right now is 1.14. With the premium, this was put together by Assurance Partners, this presentation. With the premium, with the deductible, the $2,500 deductible, it lowers our mod factor to 1.04. That is reflected over the next 3 years. The work we've done this year to keep safety in everybody's forefront of their minds, to reduce our claims, that will not, we won't see the savings from that until 3 years from now. So the presentation that Assurance Partners did showed our 3-year average deductible at $26,000. This year currently, though, we do have the numbers. It's less than $10,000 that we actually paid in deductibles for this year. So they were just saying if we had been using the $2,500 deductible for the past 3 years, that would have been our average. But we are planning on it staying, right around that same amount, just by keeping awareness in everybody's minds and trying to reduce those claims. So the quote from QBE does not have a deductible. That is not something that they offer. So it would really just depend on if you guys would like to continue with the deductible or not, which greatly does influence our mod factor over time.
I'd move to approve entering into agreement with the Kansas Association of School Boards for providing workman's compensation insurance for the 2015-16 school year in the amount of $174,960.
Second.
I have a motion by Board Member Schwartz, second by Board Member Lang. Open it up for discussion.
And that was the option, save the 62,000, correct?
I just want to draw, or have what we were paying in premiums in 2013, 2014 was $992,293. And this year, I'm sorry, 292,000. $293. And this year's premium, the $174,960, I mean, that's a very significant savings just in a couple of years there. And I think that trend will continue with safety program, awareness. I just wanted to draw that to everybody's attention.
I think in that light, I'd like to thank Marty Patterson for that, because
Yeah.
his leadership on that issue is where most of that savings came from.
Yeah. Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. On to item C, which is the...
I'm sorry, James, before we move on, will you reflect that savings now and that
Yes.
expense?
I will. I was waiting till you guys acted tonight to see what that amount would be, and I absolutely will.
All right, we'll move on to item C, approval of bid to surface Hayes High School running track.
Rusty, do you want to come up and address that, please?
Earlier, I came to you and we were going to see about trying to go through a cooperative to do it, and we found out that we couldn't do that, so we ended up going back out and bidding it. Bidding it's been really tricky because we have warranty left on it, so in order to maintain the warranty, we had to try to get the same, it had to be the exact same product in order to maintain the warranty, so the bid specs had to be written very tightly. The company that you have the bid from was the only one that bid it. It was for the price that they had quoted us earlier, so the numbers are still the same. I had one other company that inquired about it. They talked to me, wanted to know if it had to be the same product. After I explained to them what the reasoning behind it was, they said, yeah, I understand, and they couldn't bid on it because they couldn't maintain the warranty for us. So that's where we're at. Basically, it's budgeted in to do this year, and we just need to approve it so that we can go ahead and get it done. It's actually already scheduled. We had it scheduled when we thought we could do it through the cooperative, and I haven't changed those dates yet, and they're willing to hold those. So it's scheduled to do July 6th if you approve it tonight. So.
Rusty, what's the warranty after we do this on the track?
Excuse me?
What's the warranty on the product?
After we do it.
Is it going to be yearly maintenance?
No, the warranty we had on the initial install of the base, there was 2 years left, so we've got about 1.5 years left on the warranty on the base. So as far as extending the warranty, the base is, the running surface is only going to be good as the base. I mean, they'll bring in, but I don't think it's going to extend any warranties or anything for us. It'll just remain the same.
So when is the next time we'd have to do this?
The next time we have to do it is basically going to be a maintenance code of some kind, and usually they're anywhere from 3 to 6 years out, but they're not going to be near this expensive. When we were talking about sealing the track, I was under a misconception of what this was actually a build-up track, and the fact that they put down a base coat, and I thought they were coming in, it seemed really high just to seal it, but actually no, they're putting another surface on and putting the running surface on. When they originally built the track, they only put down the base coat, and then they lined the base coat to use it for a couple years while we got the money around to go ahead and put the running surface on and then reline it. So they'll be actually adding material to it, sealing that material, and then restriping it.
So they do the marking?
Yep.
Okay. Is there something unusual about what we chose on this track that?
You chose a higher-end track than what I'm used to, because most of the ones that I'm used to are basically just multiple coats and put down. This one's actually a lot better track than what I'm used to, so the longevity of it should be quite a bit better. I've been pretty impressed with where it's at even after 4 years, so.
I'd make a motion to approve the low bid of MAC McConnell and Associates for the resurfacing of the track in the the amount of $80,886.
Okay, we have a motion by Board Member Schwartz, a second by Board Member Rankin to go ahead and approve the bid in the amount of $80,886. Is there any discussion? Go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Next item is the Hayes High School hallway lighting bid, and Rusty, I probably should have just stayed up.
Yeah, I was trying to see where you were at on the agenda. I have the one from the work session, and that was a little bit different. Light bid that you have before you is basically to finish the lighting project that we started in the Hayes High hallways, changing from T12s and T8 lights to LED fixtures. And I brought that bid to you earlier in the year. I can't remember exactly when, February, March, sometime in there. We chose to go ahead and do the gymnasium project because that's where the savings was at, but I wanted to go ahead and do the hallway project while the bids were still good, and Wesco went ahead and guaranteed the bid till now. So basically, I'd like to get it approved so we could start that project once we get the lights in.
That'll be done before school starts?
Don't know that we'll have it all done, but we're going to try to have quite a bit of it done. The one hallway was done while school was actually going on, and it worked fairly well. We could just move to the side on class changes, and it went really quick, so.
Move to accept the bid from Western Extra Light for the replacement of the Hayes High School lighting in the amount of $30,515.29.
Motion by Board Member Schwartz,
Second.
second by Board Member Lang. Any further discussion or questions for Rusty? See
Am I
none?
next?
No, you're not next.
Oh,
You're gonna
okay.
skip over. Are we?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay there.
Just stay
Up
there. You might be here for the rest of the meeting.
Yeah, hope not.
There's chairs there too. if you want to
Well,
take
I'm
one of
fine.
those. Okay, so we'll go ahead and call for the vote to accept the low bid for option one in the amount of $30,515.29 from Western Extra Light. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Item E, renewal of trash and recycling removal.
We talked about this at the work session. We just opted to go ahead and extend our current contract and did not bid it this year. There was some changes in it that you can see in the contract that they gave us for this year. My recommendation is to accept it and then look at putting it out for bids next year, because I'm under the understanding that we have another company in town that might, the last few years, we've not received bids back on it, and that's why we chose to extend it. And since then, I found out we have another company, so next year, look at putting it out for bid.
Okay. Is there a motion? I'll go ahead and make the motion for option one, which would be to approve the pricing agreement from Ideal Refuse Removal and Roll-Off for the above pricing structure for 2015-2016.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion by myself, a second by Board Member Lang. Any further discussion or questions for Rusty?
This includes recycling as well.
Yes.
Bill, are we okay going forward with that without putting this out for bid?
What is the other company?
I'm
Don't know?
terrible with names, so I'll have to find it out again.
Okay. Any other questions? Go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. On to action item F, which is the Hayes High School Gym A roof repair. And Rusty, I'll let you talk through this one as well.
As you know, we had some wind damage to the roof right around the concert. And It was one of the roofs that High Plains had. It actually, I had left to go do something else the day that it happened. We went ahead and had High Plains come up, take a look at it, and determined that it was wind damage. They done some temporary to it. We got a hold of our insurance adjuster. The adjuster came up, went ahead and got a quote from High Plains, and went ahead and you can see what they've got worked up as far as the insurance claim. So basically what we have before you is the insurance claim plus the quote that they originally got from High Plains. And protocol that I've had in other districts, we didn't approve them, we went ahead and do them. This district, just trying to keep everybody in the loop, sort of an FYI, we're doing it, and I guess I need to have you go ahead and approve it tonight to at least have the work done.
Okay. I would make a motion to approve the temporary, or approve the bidder of High Plains Roofing for the temporary work in the amount of $6,457.31, and the actual repairs of $109,695.
Okay, we have a motion by Board Member Schwartz. Is there a second? We'll go ahead and second that. Any further discussion, questions?
High Plains is the only company that put a bid in.
There was no bidding process because it was insurance. All three districts, this district and the other two districts I've been in, whenever it was an insurance claim, I've just worked with the adjuster. He's went out and I can't say it. Went out and got the quotes and came back in with the quotes. And I've only seen in the 32 years that I've been doing it, one time that we actually bid, and that was while I was in Scott City. The original cost estimates that came in were so outrageous that the adjuster actually came to me and said, you know, I can't accept these, I need to do something else. And I said, well, it's your money, I don't have a problem bidding it if that's what you want to do. So I helped him write some bid specs, he put it out, he took the bids, he done it himself. It was a EMC that done it, and he came back in, and he was right. I mean, we both knew he was right. They were way high, so he couldn't justify doing it. I think it was, I can't remember exactly, but there was several $1,000s difference. It was enough that he actually gave me a better roof than what we were originally doing just off the savings that he incurred on it. The reason that we've never bid it or done anything other than the original quote, the only thing we're actually paying is the $5,000. I mean, the insurance company is actually funding everything else, and that's why our cost is, everything else is insurance money, and our cost is only the $5,000. So I've always went with their recommendation. I don't know if that's answering your question or not, but
It does. I got a call from Roofmasters
yeah,
asking. Okay, because they're
I got the same call.
You did?
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's one of those deals. I've not worked with Luke that much. I worked with his dad, Fred, quite a bit in Oakley, and we went through the same thing. I mean, he was the one there doing the quotes, and he was the one getting the quotes when the insurance guy was there, and it wasn't that big, we didn't bid or do anything there. So it's one of those deals, if you're the one they call up and quote, it's a good thing. If you're the competition, it's not so good. And this one worked out just that it was one of High Plains' roof that was actually, Francis has a list of who's done each roof, and that section was one High Plains had done. That's why he contacted them to come back originally, and that's how they ended up with a quote. If it had been O'Laughlin, it had been one of Roofmaster's roofs over there, they would have been there, they would have been the one working with the adjuster. The adjuster didn't require anything other than just the one quote. I don't know if that helps you or not, but that's what I'm working off of.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. I don't know that I like that process, but that's a very substantial explanation. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for Rusty?
I have a question on the procedure. I mean, that's, to me, in the past, we've had issues creep up, different areas, just about that type of issue where you've got, certain things are handed out because of who the person is, and raises issues about favoritism, or you have somebody giving their buddy a deal or something, and you know, on a service, I mean, I know you might be able to make the argument that it's insurance, but I think even when we had the fire, we bid all that out.
We're not required to bid out insurance proceeds.
And I don't know if we have to, we may not have to, but I just think it's a good policy to give the locals a chance to have an opportunity.
If that's what we want to do, I mean, this is the first big insurance claim that we've had.
I mean, we can look at double quotes. The only thing is you also had the initial damage that needed to be repaired right away. So then you get into, you have High Plains come in, and then you re-quote it and stuff on that part of it, and I don't know. We can look at it. I don't want to say we can't.
You're just going to have to hire somebody. I mean, you've got to get somebody in, you don't have time, and, you know, High Plains did it, that's the logical first start, or first step, but on the rest of it, we could have let it out. I mean, I understand you don't have to, but I just think, I guess, leave it up to the board. My vote won't matter after tonight, but I just think it's good policy to have the locals have a chance on it, so.
Plus, a temporary fix is always going to be removed once you're
Right.
back down with the permanent member in.
And I think we've kind of run into some of this on some other issues too lately on bidding and issues like that. And I just think we've got, we used to bid everything. And there might have been issues with the specs, but I think we've gotten too much to not bidding much. So that's not a,
I understand.
That's not directed all at you, right?
Yeah, I realize that.
Is there any other discussion, questions?
If I can make one other, I do have one. I think in this one, though, I mean, you could reject the bid and go back and try and go out and get bids, but I think the problem you run into there is now you've created a situation in which one company's had to show their cards and the other one hasn't. So,
The other problem you have with that is I've already signed the contract and stuff because I was not used to it going before the board. So there's actually even a PO issued for this because the projects I've done in the past on insurance, we've went ahead and done them and sent them through and didn't have board approval. So this is sort of one of those coming back because I'm not used to your procedure things. So I know High Plains is probably already getting materials orders.
well, and I'm not as worried about that, but we passed a policy a while back saying that the only people that could enter into contracts on behalf of the board were the board. And so I think in the future, those contracts have to be signed by the board. I mean, I think you run a big risk when you do that. And again, this is the first one we've run into with you on this, Rusty. I'm not trying to be critical of you, but I just.
No, I'm not getting that. Like I said, it's a matter of just learning the procedures because each school is
Well,
different.
What you run into is if you go out and sign a contract, if we authorize you to sign contracts, then the next one you sign that we don't like, we have no control over that, and we're bound by it. Theoretically, I guess there's wiggle room to get out of it, but.
Guess that's the question for the next board. Any other questions? All right, go ahead and call for the vote, which would be to approve the High Plains roofing project out at Hayes High on Gym A. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion carries 5-1. Thank you, Rusty.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rusty.
Up next, item G, the approval of student handbooks.
They are attached, and we discussed that a little bit at the work session. If you have questions, we have principals here. I don't know if you have anything you guys want to mention. Pretty generic updates with technology policies and those things.
Probably the iPad policy's going to be kind of a fluid one that we may be looking at doing addendums as the school year and putting them on the website as we know what our policies and what we shift around on that. So we needed to just get the basics down with that and see where we're at as we're going with the students.
As that changes, will you keep us updated?
Yeah. I'll bring that back if we do an addendum and put it on the website.
What kind of addendums would you be looking at?
We don't know what we don't know on just some of the policies that might shift around on the use of them in the schools. And I'll be coming back to the board in July and August, and as our committee looks more and more as the usage of them and possibly check out different things like that. So,
Did we look at other schools
Yeah.
to draft this?
yeah. Because
Craig, do you want to come up to the mic?
Sure.
Thanks.
As we went to the iPad Academy at Victoria, we were able to talk with the two administrators of Victoria, and what we found out is the Goodland, the Abilene, the Victoria, and where we pulled a lot of our policies are all just reflect almost the same thing. Just it depends on, I know when Stu was talking about at Victoria, when you're talking about such a small school compared to a large school, that some of the policies might not work as well on that, so there may be a need for adjustments as we go.
Dean, if there's going to be changes like that, should we approve tonight, or when does this have to be approved? If it's going to be fluid
We
like
don't know
that?
what, it's gonna be throughout the school year if something comes up. I mean, it doesn't,
Okay.
we don't know. If there'll be-
99% of the handbook won't change. It's
Yeah.
just,
If there's some issue comes up that we need to address, it would be, but none of us have any idea if that would happen or what it would be.
I'd
Now,
make a
are we
motion to-
printing handbooks at each of the schools or just the high school?
we,
We only print one for parents and the incoming impression. Actually, we don't, I take it back, we don't print handbooks. We did print a course guide for
A
the
course
eighth grade
guide.
parents last spring.
Hey,
Yes.
Marty, can you come back up again, so everybody at home can hear that? But first, let's go ahead and get the motion on the table. I think, Josh, you had made the motion, so.
I'd make a motion to approve the student handbook for the 2015-2016 school year.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, we have a motion by Board Member Waddell, second by Board Member Lang. Open it back up for discussion, and then, Mr. Straub, will you repeat what you said?
The question was, do we print handbooks? We don't print handbooks, but we did print the curriculum guide last spring for the eighth graders and their parents. And we put the digital copy, the PDF copy of the student handbook in each student's folder, digital folder, as well as on the website.
That'll be burned onto those laptops? Permanent file on the laptops?
And we try to put a reminder on the online enrollment about looking online for the student handbooks, just so that they know it's there. But digital just makes sense.
Yeah, each student's required to have a handbook, but they're not required to have a physical handbook, so we do it that way. We do email one out to the parents in our first Hayes High happenings at the beginning of the year also.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, there was a motion by Board Member Waddell, a second by Board Member Lang to approve the student handbooks for the 2015-16 school year. Go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Item H would be cancellation of the June 29th, 2015 work session. Dean, do you want to give some background info on that?
Well, we had looked at that, and I think I mean, we really don't have an agenda item. I mean, it was to have a work session before the July meeting, but with the board turnover, all those things, I don't see the need to have that on the 29th. So my recommendation is that we just cancel that, and then we'll meet on the 6th. Yes, the 6th of July.
Dean, do we need to look at, the only reason I ask on with July, because I see we have the 6th, we have a board meeting, the 20th, we have a board meeting, August 3rd, we have a board meeting, and the 17th, we have a board meeting. It's the 31st before we have a work session. Was that intentional?
To do what?
We have 4 board meetings in a row with no work sessions.
The 6th was for the reorganization. August 3rd, we need you to act on the budget to do the notice of hearing, so you guys can actually then vote on the budget on the 17th. And so instead of doing a special notice work session, we'll just need you to take action on August 3rd for the budget. Notice of hearing is all.
That'll be, I mean, the action item would be to approve that. But,
Okay, is there a motion from the board?
Make a motion for the cancellation of the June 29th, 2015 work session.
Okay, we have a motion by Board Member Bickle to cancel the June 29th, 2015 work session. Is there a second? Second by Board Member Lang. Open it up for discussion or any comments? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. On to item 11, discussion by board members and agenda requests. Anybody have any?
I was wondering if we could get an update on the elementary class sizes projections that we currently have. See your spreadsheet and just see where we have the potential problems. And even at the middle school, I mean, if we're projecting some higher classes in some of the electives or something like that.
Definitely. Again, there'll be pre-enrollment, because
Sure.
August will be the bigger deciding factors.
Any other agenda requests, discussion topics? Okay. We do need to go into executive session for purpose of negotiations, and so I will go ahead and make the motion to enter into executive session for a matter of 30 minutes to discuss negotiations to begin at 7:30, ending at 8 o'clock, to include all members of the Board of Education, the Board Attorney, Superintendent, Director of Finance, Director of Curriculum, and the Assistant Superintendent. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.